Apex them in soon. Stay up. That's it. Out we go. In. Apex as well. Oh, we missed the apex there. Let's go out. Right out the concrete. Latch out in fourth gear. Third gear. Fourth down. Nearly to 5 now. Well, welcome to another episode of repairs to this poor old Triumph 2500 Mark 1. So what's happening in this episode? Well, it's time, the walrus said, to speak of many things, because it's time to turn the key and to try and start it. There is a couple of jobs to do before then. Got to put some oil in it, some coolant in the radiator, some power steering fluid in it, some oil in the carbies, and of course charge the battery because it's been sitting here for a couple of months. Mechanically there's only one thing to do, and that's bleed the clutch. So let's get on with all that. Alright, it's time to put some coolant in it. Now, this coolant is concentrate, and it makes 7.5 litres all up. So I need to just put all this in and then add some water, and we'll be right. Well, how do you know that? It took the right amount. Now all these fluid levels are going to have to be checked after the car is run, and it all gets percolated around, but we'll deal with that later. Well, it's time to put some power steering fluid in it. Now, my workshop manual is too old, it doesn't give power steering details, so I'm just going to put some in there just to get it started, because I also know that you check the level with the engine running, I think. So let's just get some in there to make it happy. I don't know much about power steering, but I do under the impression that you need to turn the steering back and forth a few times to sort of self-bleed it out a bit. Don't know where I got that information from, but I want to do it. Well, I'll leave it at that for now until after the engine's been run. Next up, we need to get some oil in them carbies. I'm just going to put some WD-40 here and there on these linkages and what have you. Choke cables. Well, we're getting there. Time to put some fluid in the clutch in readiness to bleed it. Well, it's time to bleed the clutch. Now these clutches can be pretty hard to bleed. There's a fair up before it goes down. and it's hard to get the fluid to do that. Over the years I've had someone pumping the pedal and what have you, and it's usually taken a lot of doing. I'm going to try using this gadget. It's a pressure bleeder, but one, it's old, and I don't know, I haven't used it in years, so we'll see what happens. I haven't got anyone to press the pedal anyway, so let's just try it and see what happens, eh? Well, that just sucked the master cylinder dry and just a couple of squirts on the gadget, so I'll have to be for less period of time in order to, otherwise it just sucks more air. Let's just give it another go. Well, I'm going to call it at that. The clutch appears to be working to me. It'll take probably a bit of bedding in and getting going, so I'll just leave it at that for now, and if need be I'll come back and bleed it again. So the next job is turn the key and see what happens. So what I'll be doing, I've got to wait for the battery to charge up, so for me it'll be a while, but for you it'll be just like that. What I'll do, I'll take the plugs out and just turn the engine over on the starter motor. Probably put a bit of oil down there. And let the engine turn over until it builds up oil pressure. Once it's got oil pressure, I'll put the plugs back in and hook up the distributor cap, blah blah blah. And hopefully that turning over also will, it's an electric fuel pump, so hopefully that'll fill the carbies with fuel in that process. And then we'll turn the key, cross everything and hope. So let's get on with that. Well, it's time. Plugs are out, everything's done, all the coolants are in, all the oils are in, everything's time to go. I've had my blood pressure pills, I've taken some Valium, I've sat on the floor on a cushion going so I'm as mellow as I possibly can be. So let's turn the key without the plugs and see if it builds oil pressure. So let's get on with that. Well, the battery's connected. First thing to do is to turn the kill switch on. Make sure nothing sparks. Alright, there should be power in the system now. Can't see anything untoward. Well, let's turn the key. Well, the oil light's gone out, so maybe we'll put the plugs in it. Alright, let's give it a go. It's running. Look at that, it's bloody Ireland. Haven't done the timing. Carbies are out, as I said them. And it's running, oil pressure's up. There's a lot of paint and stuff. We're going to get a lot of smoke now from that stuff heating up. Um, it's running. That smoke's all nothing, it's just paint burning and oil burning. Take a while to clear. Just going to let this run up. Not so much the temperature, but I'm certainly going to let it get a bit hot before I turn it off. Let's have a look at the timing. Well, the time has come. Get this thing on the ground, turn the key, and take it for a drive around the block a few times to see if everything's working. So let's get on with that. Well, it's time. Let's see what happens when we drive it. Just going to go around the block a couple of times and see what we get. Alrighty, surprisingly, it feels much the same as it always has done. Steering wheel's pointing in a weird direction, but it's going and moving. Gearbox is easy, steering's a lot lighter. Third gear. We'll hold it in third for a bit, go around the block again. Okay. Well, Brant's is not working. Speedo surprisingly is. So far so good, everything's working. Temperature's up to speed. There's a definite noise at the moment coming from somewhere, which is probably the brakes on the back being a bit over adjusted, I think. Used to get a noise like this when the handbrake was on a little bit. The cable would be rubbing on the tail shaft, but handbrake's not on. Something to investigate, eh? Whoa, temperature just spiked. It's up to half in the time. I'm just going to go around the block one more time. And the overdrive works, so thank goodness for that. Oh well, I'm going to say that we're pretty good at the moment. Not sure why the temperature's running higher. Let's try fourth gear. I haven't done that yet. Yeah, no, we're sweet there. I think we're sweet. Oh, went round the block one time too many. Clutch is gone. It's in gear, but it ain't going anywhere.
Sort of.
Well, the test drive did not go according to plan. Everything was pretty well working. The Brandt's navigation gear wasn't working for some reason, but that's no big thing. There was a scrapey noise, like the handbrake was, or the brakes were over adjusted and scraping, or it actually sounded like something on the tail shaft. And I know the handbrake cable scrapes on that now and then. So again, I wasn't concerned about that. But at one point the clutch pedal went to the floor and no clutch. And that means no clutch as in the clutch was depressed. It wasn't unhappy. It was completely like pushed in and jammed that way. Anyway, so yeah, you could have it in gear and rev it and nothing would happen. Couldn't fix it on the side of the road, towed it home. It was only a couple of 100 metres away. And on the side of the road, when you grabbed hold of the slave cylinder, the rod that comes out of the slave cylinder and pushes on the lever that works the clutch, that was rock solid. By the time I've actually got it here, you can grab that and wiggle it, and you can wiggle the lever that goes into the bell housing as well. That makes me feel a lot better about things. Anyway, I'm going to have to jack it up, take the slave cylinder off, because all the fluids come out, it's pushed all the way out. Clean that all up, make sure that's in good going, and then try and understand why it happened, and also check that something hasn't gone wrong inside the bell housing with the bearing doohickey. I'm feeling reasonably confident that it's a slave cylinder problem, and we'll hopefully deal with that. So let's get on with jacking the bugger up. Doesn't matter how many spanners you get, you never have the one you need. Let's try again. Alrighty. On closer inspection you can see what the problem. Big chunk out of the bushy thing here, or whatever you call it, bucket. Now that's happened. I'm pretty sure this is sort of pushed out. This has come right out, and then it's got jammed on the outer edge and chopped a chunk off it. So that wasn't the reason it happened, I don't believe. Now this is currently bolted on here, and it's really right as its far extension, so this is sort of inside, it's going to be here somewhere. So when you push it, it does that. Now it seems to want to bolt on here, but this is an unmachined surface here. It just doesn't seem right. I can't remember how it was bolted on. But anyway, I'm going to put it back on there, so it'll be that much further closer to the lever that operates here. and that'll push that back in here somewhere, or that way around, like that. And I can't do anything now until I get a part. So that's that. Well, that's about it for this episode. Tune in, same duck time, same duck channel, for more mechanical mayhem on this poor old Triumph. When you will see me hit the slave cylinder back on and hopefully get this car back on the road. It'll need an exhaust and a wheel alignment, and then maybe take it for a decent test drive. Bye for now.